The way I feel is that of the people in the metal scene who express their opinions online, I feel like the vast, vast majority of them are on the left. And that's my perception. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that's how it feels to me.
Listen, I don't have like some detail
meter.
Like what it is. I think a lot of that is kind of self-sorting based on, it might have to do with a lot that you're more probably aligned with hardcore and punk and kind of scene, where I think that leans very much in that direction. But the world I'm in, the world of the Five Finger Death Punches, the Stains and stuff like that, I think there's actually market forces that actually would say it's more in your favor to lean the other way.
I think you're right about that.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it is a lot more diverse than that. And I think, again, this goes back to what I said before. Contrarian opinions are more valued in the internet spaces than ones up the middle. So I don't know if you've seen Phil, his social media does pretty fucking well. And when he tweets, it does. It's a lot of attention. And he's now working in the media world because of those opinions and because it has tracked well. But I'm sorry, I kind of like lost the thread of you were saying. Go back to the original. Well, I was
just my question is basically, that I think you're one of the people who is very tolerant and able to be friends with and work with people who you don't necessarily agree with, which I think is awesome. Yeah. And there's a lot of people who dig in their heels and won't do that. And I guess, how do you think about that? And my perception is that that's a rare thing. You're saying maybe it's not so rare, but how do you think about that?
Because I think those divisions exist within bands all the time. Like, do you think God forbid, are all vote for the same people? No, so I'm used to that. And it's a lot. And I can name other bands where it's like that too. And I'm not, but again, a lot of people are they don't like to put their stuff out there because they don't want that kind of attention, which I totally understand. But to me, the reason why is I think since pretty much, late, the beginning of the 2010s, the biggest problem in this country, and by virtue, like the Western world, has been divisiveness. Mm-hmm. The number one problem. But the problem is no one sees that. That was the reason why we liked Obama. He's like, I'm going to bring people together. White America, red America, blue. Remember that speech and he gave in like 2000, whatever year he gave that speech, 2006, I think, or 4. That was the whole thing. But when we realized, like, oh, he's just a guy. He's not going to fix the world. He's not this pie in the sky thing of this hope and change. And we thought, it's like, no, it's just he's a president and the world keeps going on. And they're not saviors. They're not superheroes. They're just people. They're doing their best. But we're the ones that have to fix us, right? Like it falls on us. It's not going to be a leader. It's not going to be like, so I'm of the mind that, in a weird way, like, minorities have always had to deal with certain adversity and pushback, right? And then these kind of right-wing ideologies became so unpopular within the mainstream, they became minority. So now they know what it's like to be a minority.
Wait a minute, this sucks.
Yeah, and so that's how they behave. Like they behave like they're the ugly redheaded stepchild, and they have a chip on their shoulder. But what the kind of moderate left, metropolitan left who who is at the forefront of universities and media and a lot of corporate infrastructure. What they need to realize is you can't let those people out to pasture. You have to bring them into the fold, and this goes, and I think this, and so it's like, I think you have to have compassion for people who have fucked up views because they got there somehow. They didn't get there on their own, and, and the more you push them away, the further to the extreme they're going to go. And so by the way, I have friends, dude, like me and Zoltan from Five Finger, we've had great conversations and debates where but I look at it like we're sharing ideas. Like the point is I shouldn't go to a contentious conversation and go, I'm going to convince him. It's no, I should go there to learn something because I respect him as a person. And I know he's a smart guy. He grew up, in a communist country, and he has a perspective that's different than mine. Mm-hmm. He know things I don't know, you know. And I think the problem is we just assume, and this is like, you know, despite me being kind of maybe the left of center to some degree, I was a lot more partisan when I was younger. But I think that's the dumbest way to think, because you're just like, well, clearly my side we're right with these 100 things. We're right on all 100 of them, right? And it's like, you know, but when you operate in good faith and realize that the person that you disagree with probably got there from, you know, good reasons, but, you know, and you still might disagree at the end of it. Intentions are rarely bad, you know. And I think being able to sift through the people with good intentions and bad intentions is really important, you know. And that's something that I try. Listen, I give you a list of media figures who I think do not operate in good